Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks. Welcome to a midweek Wednesday evening edition of This Week in Weather, talking about a potential threat for February 22nd to the 23rd. Now, given what's happened here with this weekend storm for February 16 to 17, many of you are saying, come on, you don't know if it's going to happen or not. Well, we're going to talk about it, and I'll explain to you what the thinking is here and why I see this event coming and why this one is a more serious threat than the one for the 16th or 17th. Actually, I got to tell you right now, I'm more confident about this threat than the only thing that comes close is the New England blizzard from February 8th, which I picked up 6-7 days out, and also the one in December as well, the Christmas Day storm for the Midwest and the Northeast. So let me show you what's going on and explain what's happening. Right, this winter's had a lot of hits and some misses, and we're going to go over a list of some of the events we've detected 6 to 10 days out accurately to give you some idea of when we can see things and when we can't. Remember, there was the event for December 25, 26, a big Midwest storm that went to the Northeast with some ice and snow. There was a big Upper Plains blizzard December 10th through the 12th. There was a super mild period January 1 through the 14th. That's what it should say there. And these were some of the events that were really well detected. Give me an example. This is the European model, 168, 192 hours out. I mean, look at this. This is pretty good, accurate forecasting down here. See this? And the European model picked up the blizzard. It got it right. There's no way to say otherwise. This is the European from day 9, and the ensemble, the operational and the European. And as you can see, here, this is the operational regular here. This is the European, and this is for December 26th, and it got it right. The European model picked up the big storm, and then we had the ice in the Northeast. It was a very good forecast for 9 days out. This is the event for January 25th, the one that dropped the snow in the Ohio Valley and then West Virginia into Virginia, a decent snow there. The model saw this, and then the Arctic air came in. Remember, we had temperatures down in the teens and behind it. The models, again, this is 6 and 7 days out. Very good forecasting. And this is the European model back in January, on I believe this is for January 1st, yeah. And we can see how amazingly warm it was, and the model correctly detecting that. So all of these, but we also had some misses as well. Of course, the February 1st false alert East Coast snowstorm, and this one on the 16th and 17th. So here's the one for the February 1st. The European model for 1 or 2 runs had a huge snowstorm for the southeast and the lower mid-Atlantic. A tremendous amount of snow for Richmond and for Raleigh, for Greensboro and Tennessee. Didn't happen. Model had it for two runs, blew it away. That was it. Then this is this storm. This is from February 8th, 10 days. February 7th, I should say. And look at that huge winter storm for this weekend. Not happening. It was 10 days out. It's not happening. All the models have backed off of it. Now, why did it back off? Well, one of the reasons, this is the European upper air map for the morning of the 8th. For the morning of the 18th, 10 days, taken from February 8th. And one of the problems is that it had no 50-50 low. Let me explain to you what this is. The 50-50 low refers to the area in southeastern Canada right here, which is 50 degrees longitude, 50 degrees latitude. That's why it gets its nickname 50-50. And what happens is when you have a negative NAO and a 50-50 low, energy storms coming in the southern stream cannot go to the Midwest. They can't do that. They have to stay south and go around these features, and that makes for coastal storms. It also makes sure that if you have a cold Arctic high in here, it can't go out off the coast and get southerly winds. The cold high gets trapped, and that sets up your confluence zone and your cold air supply for the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic states. So now this is the next run of the 12Z run of the European on February 8th. Has a big storm here over Georgia, but again, no 50-50 low and a very weak negative NAO. And the model saw this, and it said, I'm sorry, I was mistaken, it's not going to happen. So my point here is that the big East Coast events almost always show up in the 6 to 10 day. And one of the reasons for that is because that's the way the atmosphere sets up. In order to get the big East Coast events, certain things have to happen on the East Coast. Now, when you can get a moderate or minor event like the one we're having right now, so then the rules don't apply. But for the big systems, these rules do apply. Let me get an example. This is the upper air map for one of the Washington, D.C. snowstorms in February 2010. And what do we see in here? Let me draw it in. Here's our gigantic 50-50 low. Look at that monster. There's our huge negative NAO, the block over Greenland. And here's the southern stream system. And we had a snowstorm, a big one, a couple of days later. This is the one for December 16th. There was a huge snowstorm in the Mid-Atlantic states, December 19th to the 20th of 2010 in that winter. And what do we see here? Well, Another big 50-50 low. This one's displaced over Montreal and Maine. Huge block here over Greenland that's coming this way, all the way into northern Canada. And there's our southern stream energy. And it's not going to be able to do that. It's going to go this and get a big low here, and we're going to get the storm. That's exactly what happened. And this is the one for January 10th, 2011. 2 winters ago, and we can see a huge upper low right here. Call it up right here so you can see it. There's our gargantuan 50-50 low. This is a classic one. There's our block. There's our negative NEO, the high pressure in here. And this energy right in here is going to go like this. Whoop! And it's going to pound Northern Virginia and Maryland and D.C. and Philly, New York with a major snowstorm with very heavy snow. All good examples of this happening. Now, this is the European from yesterday. And I posted this on the Facebook page. Let me explain what this is about. We are getting a very strong signal for negative NEO developing again, and we have a 50-50 low, which is in southeastern Canada. The interaction between these two features enforces that the energy here in the southern plains, this energy, let me call it up, right here, okay, only has 2 options, option A or option B. It cannot go to Chicago because that would move into the block. That's a meteorological impossibility. Now let's take a look over here. See this? This is the surface map. Let's take a look, see here. And what do we see on the surface map? We've got, here's our Arctic high. There's the cold air coming in this way. This represents Arctic air and cold air at the surface. So even though it might be too warm at the higher levels for snow to form over Virginia, North Carolina, it's cold enough at the surface for ice and trapping, and that looks like. And then of course for Chicago and Illinois and Ohio, it looks like a snowstorm into the Pennsylvania and New York and New England. So that's what this is showing, but it's just one run, and we don't know if it's correct. So let's take a look. See now, this is the afternoon European, I should say, and what it's showing is this gargantuan low, 50-50 low. This is the February 16th, 17th storm for this weekend. See it? Let me call it up right there. That's this weekend storm, which is going to miss. And it goes up to southeastern Canada, gets stuck. The high moves off the coast. We get 1 or 2 warm days. And then this strong cold front and Arctic cold air comes in again and reestablishes the cold air for February 21st, 22nd. Okay. Now, let's look at the teleconnections. This is the NAO. We can see it right in here. And they're all going way down like this, right? And this is the western phase of the NEO, which is, in other words, when the NEO gets over towards eastern Canada, which is very good for snowstorms. You want a more west-based NEO than an east one. And this here as well, you can see, look at it's all going way down around the 21st. That's very good indeed. This is the Arctic oscillation. It's slightly negative around the 21st, as you can see. And then this is the PNA. Now, the PNA is a little different here. Here we have a split flow. The PNA is dropping negative. Typically, in the classic setup, you want a very strong positive PNA in this area. You want a strong positive one. But this is a split flow, and the pattern separates, so it really doesn't hurt or help us. It's not a benefit or negative influence, because as long as the PNA is negative but it's split into 2 branches, it's not that bad. Let's go to the next slide here. Now, this is the European from this morning, and this is day 9, and we can see several important features here. First, again, look at this monster. See this dark blue area? That is a monster 50-50 low up in here. This is our blocking pattern in this area here, the negative NEO. Okay, there's our negative NEO. Got it? And then this is the system. See this little blue dot? And this is at the surface. Now, this is the surface map here. You can see it. There it is. Here's our Arctic high. Okay, big snow up in this area, and then look at the hot cold air coming in southward here. We're still getting cold air coming this way, so the cold air is still coming south. This is an ice storm for Virginia, North Carolina, if this map is correct. Again, why can't this storm go to Chicago? It looks like the storm wants to go to Chicago or to Michigan. It cannot. It cannot go into the high, and it cannot go into the block. That's the important feature you have to keep in mind. All right, now this is the European model ensembles from this morning. And again, what does it show? You can see the cold air very nicely coming southward. Look at the cold winds here. Look at these cold winds. Huge storms still affecting cold air into the northeast and down to Virginia. And there's our southern system out of the southern stream. Next slide. Now, this is the European model from this morning. And again, day 9, we have the operational run on the left-hand side here. And the ensemble is right here. Both models, look at the similarities between this and this. Striking. Very strong model agreement here. This is as of the 22nd to the 23rd. This is a big snowstorm for the Northeast. Big snowstorm for the Northeast here. So, again, that's something to keep in mind. And, of course, the white line here represents the rain-snow line. So the potential is there, but again, that's just yesterday and this morning. What about the afternoon runs? Well, now this is the afternoon European at day 9, valid for the 22nd of February. Look, we're seeing up in here again. See the block? There's the negative NAO. There's our 50-50 low. And there's the system right here. See it? This is it. Now, it cannot go this way. It cannot. That's verboten. Not going to happen, boys and girls. It can only go underneath the blocking pattern. That's why these features are so important. This is the day. This is the European from this afternoon. The day 8 operational and the year ensemble. You can see it clearly. Again, both models, very, very strong agreement here. Both models have the 1045 high. Very cold, very large Arctic high, pouring the cold air southward. Look at these north winds still coming in across New England, affecting the cold air southward. Both models have the low in the same location. Okay, very cold air southward. And again, this is day 8. Let's look at day 9. This is from this afternoon's European. Now, the European has one low by Chicago and one over Atlanta. But you're saying, DT, you just told me that it can't go to Chicago. That's right, it can't. So let me explain what's going on here. Next slide. No, this is not possible. This is the European model this afternoon, the operational run for day 10. No, not happening. You cannot get a gargantuan low over southeastern Canada and another one in Great Lakes. Negates, not happening. Violates the laws of physics. Not going to happen. From now on, if you see any solution that has that low in southeastern Canada and the one going up to the Great Lakes, disregard it. Ignore it. It's not valid. It doesn't work. It can't happen. Again, the key here is the southeast low in Canada. As long as that feature is there, this energy is coming east, not into the Great Lakes. And sure enough, this is the day 10 European. Now it's got the low over Jersey, so on and so forth. That's the operational European. But if we look at the ensembles here, is this the GFS now? I think we're looking at. Make sure I got. Yeah, this is the GFS ensembles from this afternoon. And again, what we have here is notice we have almost a very weak. We have there's our 50-50 low. There's our negative NAO. And what does the GFS do? It takes it right smack into the Great Lakes. No, 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 not happening. Not going to happen. So. Those are our different solutions here from the different models. I am pretty confident this event's going to happen. I'm not convinced of it 100%, but as you can tell from the inflections in my voice, my confidence in this forecast, I think this is a pretty decent threat coming up. The key will be that 50-50 low and the cold air coming southward and keeping that next energy coming in from California to the south. As long as that low is over southeastern Canada and the block is there, this energy cannot go into the Great Lakes and will stay south. My inclination right now is I think this is probably going to be an ice storm. It may start off as snow in Virginia, North Carolina, but it'll quickly go over to ice, and I think it'll be a big snowstorm for the lower Midwest, and then into Pennsylvania and up into New York State and New England. That's how I see it right now. We'll tracking it later on, but the pattern is setting up that way. This is meteorologist DT. I'll talk to you soon.